Hello, everybody. You're listening to The Survivor Brothers, the ultimate unofficial podcast from your friends at TV Guide. I'm your Survivor-obsessed host, Fox Van Allen, and joining me today and every week throughout the Survivor 39 Island of the Idols season is my good friend, Lance Cartelli. Hello, Lance.
Hey, Fox.
Hey, Lance. I can see your bone.
Oh no, am I bleeding?
No, don't worry. No one's worried.
Someone's got to take care of me a little bit.
We can see your bone, but no one seems to be very worried. So we're gonna keep going.
I'm used to that.
Business as usual today. Oh boy, Lance. So we're back, and we just finished watching the episode. Honesty, some honesty would be chill.
It would be chill.
Did you immediately know who said that when you saw that was the title of this? I didn't. No. It could have come from anybody, right? Anybody. Definitely not Jack. So I guess let's start here at the beginning. We have a lot to talk about. A gigantic blindside happens last in the previous episode here. So previously on Survivor Brothers.
Wow, you nailed that.
Yeah, we were talking about how Molly went home last week. Queen Molly leaving King Jamal and Jack the Jack, both kind of on the outset at Vokai. And that's kind of where we pick up in the beginning of this episode. We've got a conversation with Jack, and we've got a conversation with Jamal. And the conversation with Jack kind of goes almost exactly how I would imagine a conversation with Jack. Jack's just, he's kind of chill. It's all right.
He's chill, but he also realizes he has some work to do. He knows exactly where he is on the bottom, and now it's time to get to playing. Yeah,
he's all smiles. He was just absolutely blindsided, and he loves it because it's Survivor, and that's what he's here to play.
You kind of have to say that, though. It's like you don't want to be the bitter guy who then is angry and everybody wants you out and stuff. Yeah. You're like, oh, that's a great move. Good job. Stroke some egos a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you have to say it, but I feel like he seemed like genuine. Like, I don't think like he's the kind of guy who's gonna like play with my emotions here.
Yeah,
like,
he's chill enough to be honest with you about it.
He is very chill, and he's trying to get some chill honesty. And I think he gets a little bit here because it doesn't look like, despite things going pretty poorly for him, being blindsided here, it doesn't look like he's necessarily on the outside here. Because Tommy, right off the bat, kind of like goes back and like, you're fine.
Damage control for Tommy.
It's damage control, but at the same time, it really looks like Jack is going to be fine. And I think he really plays it well here. Not that he's like strategically playing it, but it's just who he is. But I think that's like the perfect reaction. Because if I'm looking for like, okay, I just blindsided someone, like I don't want them to come back the way Vince did, where like, why did I get some votes and drop some F-bombs? Instead, laughing and like, hey, that was awesome, guys. Like, that was great. Like, that's the kind of guy I want to work with because that's the kind of guy that's going to forgive and forget.
Yeah, totally. And we said this on the previous episode, but they kind of need him as a physical threat. You've got him and Jamal as your two main physical threats now. And maybe Jamal's the one that you can get rid of, but it's smart to keep both of those guys in the fold and then decide when you have to.
Well, of course, yeah. I mean, you don't want to. I mean, it's like Survivor 101. You want to try to make it feel like everybody's in the group, even though people are clearly not in the group, right? So if the conversation with Jack goes one way, Jamal's kind of goes a different direction, right? Because Jamal is forgive but don't forget. And almost immediately, or it seems like, Jamal is ready to pick up the pieces and just go out there and throw someone else's name under the bus. And Jamal is pitching Dan real hard here. Used car salesman Dan does not like what he's hearing.
Called him Icky.
Yeah.
From what we've seen from Dan, it's not the most unrealistic way to describe him. What I thought with Jamal was interesting. Like, he really is just picking up the pieces. He's going back in. He's going hard, head first and everything. He's a wild card now. He's pulling a Charlie from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And then, like you said, forgive, don't forget, he's going to go rogue. Yeah. I thought it was really interesting. It got on Tommy's radar saying he's playing a little too hard, a little too fast. Yeah. I wonder, as we move along, does Jamal keep playing that hard? Does he kind of fall back a little bit and try to just go with the group? Or does he go rogue and be a wild card?
Yeah, it was interesting. After Jamal makes this Dan pitch, he makes the pitch to Janet. And Janet seems like pretty into
she's
it.
Open to it.
Yeah, she's thinking about it because I think we haven't seen a lot from Dan. Like I talked last week about wanting to know more about where he is strategically. We found out a little bit more about that. He does not like Nora, but that's what we found out here. But
we got another great Nora quote, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm going to be the biggest train wreck in Survivor history. That's pretty good.
It's good to have that self-awareness.
Is that foreshadowing?
I don't think it's not so much foreshadowing. I mean, we've already seen it.
It's shadowing.
Right? Yeah, it's just a plain shadow.
Yeah.
So anyway, Janet and Tommy have this talk, and Tommy and Janet both seem to be really into Jamal. Like they seem like Jamal's someone that they can work with, but at the same time, they don't like this Jamal big move right after just kind of getting his hand smacked there at Tribal Council.
I thought it was really smart that Tommy, when he was talking to Janet, the chief lifeguard, that he was saying it's a good move, but is it for Jamal or is it for us? That's a great way to look at it
really
this early in the game.
Yeah, it is a power move, but it is Jamal's power move. And do we want to let Jamal make a power move here? Maybe not. And then all of a sudden the question is, well, do we get rid of Jamal? So, put a pin in that. We'll come back to that later. But
that's how it always goes, though. You make your pitch for somebody, and if it backfires, then you're right in the crosshairs.
I mean, there are two people you go after: either the name the person throws out, or the person throwing out names.
Yep.
And it's often no better to go for the person that's thrown out names, because throw you under the bus too if you could, right?
That's always the hardest part for me when I do watch Survivor. It's like, when do you, it's really feeling people out. When do you make that move? When you really try to take control of the game, kind of like how Lauren did last week. She just picked the right time and it worked out. I always find that one of the toughest parts of playing Survivor.
Yeah. And to be fair, I don't think it's a bad move here. It's a little bit too aggressive, I think. But I don't think that trying to pitch Dan as someone who should go is a bad move, because I think we've seen that, Dan seems to be in the majority, but, he's had some run-ins with the women on the tribe. They were a little bit uncomfortable with his, his spatial awareness, right?
Yes.
And clearly he's kind of turning off Jamal as well. So there are enough people there who are kind of leery about this guy. So, it looks like a decent enough consensus target if you're trying to go after someone. Maybe you should read the room a little bit better and target Nora instead, if she's really, but, maybe he's moved beyond that. It's tough to know. It's tough to know what's going on exactly when you've just been blindsided,
Yeah.
So
he, it is a smart move. It obviously was a little too strong because it didn't catch on, but, he convinced Janet. Like, there are people that thought it was good. Even Tommy thought it was a good idea and just a little early. So it's not like it was a poor play.
Yeah. So we talked last week about the edit that Jamal got, and it looked really bad. Like, it looked like he was like very cocky and just kind of. My thought was that moving forward, like, this is like such a bad edit. Like, it's going to be so hard to bounce back from it. So how do we think he bounced back this week? Like, do you think is he doomed moving forward, Lance? What do you think?
I wouldn't say completely doomed, but it's not looking good just because his one try at trying to make a power move and everything, he struck out on.
Yeah.
So it's not looking good. People are already talking about him throwing his name out. So you can't say that he's doing the right thing. But I just don't think it's completely like if they lose the next community challenge, he's gone. I don't think it's easy as that.
No, I'm with you, and I think he got very lucky, or should be very thankful that his tribe wins immunity here, and that he doesn't have to go back and see how that turns out. He does have Nora there, who could step in before him as an easy vote, as a unifying vote. I think it's really important that group's going to want to stay together going into a swap rather than splinter going into a swap. So, and then once the swap happens, it's, again, the deck gets shuffled and he can go wherever he wants.
The only thing I will say about that, though, is he's calling himself a wild card, so that's not somebody you can completely trust when you get.
I don't think you want to pitch yourself as a wild card. It's okay to be the wild card. You just don't want to say I'm a wild card. Don't know where I'm going, do you? At least in this point of the game, it's a little early.
I don't know if you ever want to do that unless you have like 2 immunity idols in your back pocket.
Yeah, but I do like that Jamal is at least a little bit wary here. Like he's kind of like. He's playing the game. He's playing the game, and he knows he's in a bad spot, and he's got to do something to fix it. And he's trying something, and at least he's trying something.
Yeah, it's way better than just sitting around and letting the game happen.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So that's what's going on at Vokai. It could have been a lot worse, I think, for them. But it looks like that they pulled it together pretty well. for the most part. Now let's head back over to the Lairo beach, Team Orange, right?
Yes, way easier.
And back where the Women's Alliance is running things. Our first look at the Women's Alliance is that it is a group that is 5 strong, but also 4 strong and charisma.
Yeah. One thing I will say though, before we really get into it, I loved the all Women's Alliance meeting.
Yes.
Just in the water, you got Elaine just suplexing people, yes, which was amazing.
Fantastic. That was fantastic.
If you're bored, why not? And like they seem to be having fun with it. I thought that was great.
Yeah. No, I really like the dynamics of this Lairo tribe. It's a really great, and we're always looking out for those the all Women's Alliance. Like it's it's kind of like the holy grail of alliances for like Survivor and Big Brother. Will it happen? Can it happen? And it's happening here, and I love it. Like it's great to see.
But how long does it last?
Well, it looks like there's a crack in it already, right? Because Karishma is definitely feeling that she is not part of this group, even though she's part of this group. We get a really great confessional from her. Like I'm really into her as a character. Like she is fantastic, fantastic television. Like something that we haven't really seen on Survivor. And she's talking about like her culture and how she's not really comfortable with being out there in a bathing suit, but this is Survivor, and she knows like to bond with the people that she's around. She has to just kind of like swallow it and like go for it. And like I love that about it. Like I love that like she realizes that this is something she has to do. She has to step out of her comfort zone, and she's doing it. Maybe not doing it well, because it looks like she's kind of it's a very shaky episode for her, I think, overall.
Yeah, like you got to respect, she's representing her people, and she's very aware of that. And I really like that some of the things aren't easy for her, and she still did it. That's part of the game, and she's really embracing the experience. But you can tell some of those things are just in the back of her head, and it keeps being in the back of her head throughout the episode, and that could end up being what her downfall is.
I keep, every time I see her, I just and see her talking, I just want her to have more self-confidence.
Absolutely.
Because like I feel like that's where like the entire, and we'll talk more about it like later, but like she has this entire conversation with Vince later in the episode, and it just like seems like she is just so down on herself, and it's like, of course it's gonna be me. No one likes me. I'm so old. I'm old. I just don't fit in. Like she is so down on herself, and like you can't, like, Survivor's not a pity party. Like you can't win the game like that way.
You can't have a guilt trip like that.
No.
But what makes it frustrating is that, like you said in that first interview and everything, you really like her, and you really want her to like take control and stuff, and she's just like, nobody wants to play. You just got to take control. You got to grab it by the horns, and you could tell that she wants to, but it's just hard for her to make that step, and you really just want her to do it.
Yeah. And we really got a real good look at why and how things are so hard for her here on the tribe, where she cuts her hand, and she cuts her hand pretty deep here. She can see bone. That's what she says. It's hard to tell from the actual scene. You see some blood there, and she's
a lot of blood.
She's out there. Yeah, she's out there on the beach doing yoga. Face down with her hand up or whatever that is to maintain or keep from passing out.
At least Nora wasn't trying to make her do jumping and everything.
Yeah, she had a plan. She knows like if you gotta lay down and not pass out or whatever. And at the same time, like, conversations are just happening around her. No one's coming over to see if she's okay. Like, there were a couple of like people like, oh, really? Like, I cut myself to the bone. Really? Oh, how about that? All right. So anyway, we should go fishing later. It's just so bad. Like it's bad for the other 8 people on the tribe, first of all, because like no one's actually going out to do anything. Like, okay, maybe she's being a little bit dramatic about it. Like, who knows like how bad it is, but like don't just stand there while she's like lying on the ground. Like,
it was such a bad look. I don't know if it was like really good editing and stuff, but like
I'm sure there's some editing.
Yeah, having conversations and like eating and cooking and all that stuff, like everything's fine.
Yeah, and
no one's even there to even like pat her on the back. Like, I understand like medical needs to get there, maybe the producers are there or something like that, but at least like comfort her a little bit. Yeah. It was such a bad look.
I mean, we've seen like absolute train wrecks on Survivor before where people are just like crying and they're hurt or they're whatever, and people like, even though it's just like, oh, this again, like they're there and they're comforting them and they're like, this is gonna be okay because it's Survivor, that's what you do, right? But no one really comes to check on her, and she picks up and reads that. And it's like, I love when survivors are able to take something that's completely and totally unrelated to the game and use that information to figure out exactly where they are in the game. And she picks up on it perfectly, that like, no one cares, so she must be in trouble. And for sure she is.
Yeah, because everyone on this tribe is dead to her.
Yeah, her name's being thrown around. And it's great that she at least realizes that, but she's got to do something about it at some point.
Yeah, this is where really, we were just talking about her, but this is where having, like, this hurts her self-confidence. You can tell why she is acting the way she's acting because of something like this. So you want her to be more self-confident, but it's really tough when everyone around there, you just don't feel like they care about you at all. It's so tough.
Yeah. But at the same time, she is in this pretty decent position with this women's alliance, and it looks like this group of women does not want to at any point eat their own. Missy's very, she's against it. Like everybody's against it, right? Like to break up this women's group. So she's fine, at least in that sense. But at the same point, she is at the bottom of this 5 pretty clearly. So it seems like the women of the Lairo tribe think they're doing a really good job about hiding this women's alliance. And I think, who was it? Was it Chelsea, I think, was bragging later in the episode that they're running things and the guys don't even know it. Yep. But for sure the guys know it. Like
Aaron was all over it.
Yeah. And I feel like that's always like the, it's kind of like the common back of your mind thought, like, 5 guys or 4 guys, 5 girls. The guys are in trouble, right? It's just like, it's always in like the back, because like, when is it going to happen? Like it's always out there as a maybe, right? But this time, like, they're hanging out together. They're suplexing each other in the water. They are they call themselves a sorority. There's something going on there. And you're right, Aaron for sure picks up on that. And tries to get this group together of him and Tom. Dad Tom.
I kind of like that. They all just sees the dad figure, like even when his name was getting thrown around, like, oh, it's Dad.
Yeah, that really pretty guy who we haven't seen much of yet, and Vince is there too, Vince is very firmly siding with the women here. He's hearing, and if I gotta say, like, if you're in a 9-person tribe and the idea is, hey, us 4 need to stick together, like we got to go up against that 5. It's like, I don't know about that. Yeah, those numbers don't sound great. This does not sound like the alliance for me. I do not want to be number 4 in a 4 against a 5.
The numbers don't line up for him. And then, if they do get powered, like Vince is a guy they would target to get out.
They've already targeted him.
Exactly.
They don't like him.
Yeah,
like
they don't like him. He's not a physical threat, and it's 3 other physical threats. Like he was in, he was in a interesting position because he could go back and forth and really be part of the power and stuff, but he never really stepped into that. He just completely sided with the women.
Yeah. I can't fault that move right there, and because it looks like he has a pretty good rapport going with the women.
We can fault him for other moves later on.
Yeah. Oh, there's plenty to fault him for,
but not for that one.
But not for this. It looked like it was a good enough move, and I'm kind of in some ways surprised that the women let him go, considering how closely aligned he was with them. But again, we'll talk more about that later. Because speaking of Vince, we have to talk about the Island of the Idols and how exactly it was set up for just this one of the biggest blindsides, a blindside that will live in infamy. And we're going to talk about that right after this. Okay, Lance, so we are back, and we are here talking about the Island of the Idols, the actual Island of the Idols that Vince goes to. Vince is the person who gets chosen randomly. Great time for Vince to get chosen for this, by the way.
Yeah.
Immediately after seeing what kind of trouble he might be in, we get a shot of him going to the Island of the Idols.
One thing I thought was interesting before we get into that, Elizabeth immediately gets on our radar. It's like, we got to get this guy out.
Yeah.
He could blow up my game and stuff. And so good. We've kind of, not been the nicest to Elizabeth. That was smart move, just to be like, hey, we got to get this guy.
Yeah. The lie is there's going to be a new lie coming out soon. And you want to be on top of that before it happens. So that's great. Apparently they did have conversations about what went on it wasn't aired. But it did come out in some of the post press interviews that Vince did, and we can talk about that a little bit later. But one thing I want to bring up is that I was very concerned, Lance. I've been very concerned all season long. You know, at the beginning of the season, we did our cast assessment. And looking at the Lairo tribe, I found one gentleman who was a very handsome gentleman. And I was waiting to see when he would make an appearance on the show. And it's been a couple long weeks. And I was so worried that I found right here, put out an ad on a milk carton here. Have you seen him? It's Dean Kowalski. He's 28 years old. He's in tech sales, also a DJ.
Tech sales and a DJ.
Yeah, he is a vote split enthusiast.
Okay.
And he told on his application, my athletic and puzzle abilities will make me a threat within challenges. So that's Dean. That's Dean right there. Dean, who stumbles on his way to meet the guy at the boat. Not the best edit for Dean tonight. There's a lot of Dean's coming out party is not looking.
I'm glad we all figured out who he was, his name and everything. I'm glad you got the 2%, lactose-free milk. I'm a big fan of that too. Organic.
I dug it out from the back of the fridge. This milk is so spoiled. Don't open it.
It will smell like the Bobcat piss from the Big Brother brothers.
Yeah, I still have that in the trunk of my car. Yeah. So yeah, it's a tough episode for Dean. But as soon as Vince goes off to the Island of the Idols, Dean, we got to get rid of this Vince guy. So we should split the vote.
Great idea.
It's a great idea. And I don't know who says it, but it's like someone just said, everybody's here.
I think it might have been Chelsea.
Yeah. Everybody's here. Everybody's here.
And then the awkward silence where he just looks at his nail. What had happened was
he in his application on CBS.com, he says he has a lot of self-awareness, and he does at least have the self-awareness that he effed up big time here.
Speaking of self-awareness, Karishma realizes, hey, I'm the one that's getting the vote split. Good for her figuring that out.
I mean, she's right. Like it's on her radar, and Dean's right. Everybody was thinking it. But that was the wrong time to bring that out. You don't talk strategy when literally everybody in the game is there. That's probably not the best time.
To be fair, if I was on Survivor, I would probably have so many brain farts and stuff that I would probably do the same thing. But not a good look for our guy Dean.
I am dying to see what your edit on Survivor would be, Lance.
It'd be a great edit.
Yeah. So anyway, let's go back to Vince, because this is one entertaining little segment here. So Vince heads off to the Island of the Idols and meets his idols, Boston Rob and Sandra, and he is immediately overcome with emotions.
Just cries right away. He's like, I'm not a starstruck guy, and then is starstruck.
Yeah, I love that. So Boston Rob asks you, so where are you from? And he immediately starts crying. And Boston Rob has like the most incredulous look on his face. It's like, what the hell's going on? Like, do you not know where you're from?
That was a great line. I wish that was the headline of the title of the episode, because that was a good one.
Yeah, and then we get Boston Rob's brag of the week about how amazing it is that he's such a great Survivor contestant. He's such a legend that people are so overcome with emotion when they see him. So I think that must be in Boston Rob's contract.
Is that a brag of the week or like a humble brag?
I think it's because he does it a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking he gets one every week. That's like in his contract.
It's like how The Rock and Jason Statham can only get hit a certain amount of times.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Hobbs and Shaw.
Yep. It's a very specific color to M&M's in his bowl back at the camp. So Vince is tasked with the key Survivor skill of stealing fire. That is his duty here.
With a huge torch.
It's keeping cool under pressure.
Yeah. Seems like a guy that really can keep cool under pressure.
This seems like a good lesson? He could use a lesson in this. And I was absolutely living for this like legit Survivor boot camp that he is going through, where he is learning all these skills that are gonna come in handy at no point in the game.
Yeah, it's all muddy, so you learn how to crawl
and like crawling through the sand.
The best thing was when Sandra was hiding the
leaf
brush and everything.
I love the leaf.
That was the greatest cut. Like,
yeah.
Hall of Fame edit right there.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
You just got to make it happen, she says. You just got to make it happen. I mean, listen, it's dark out. That's not bad. Grab a really big leaf.
There was a couple times where he could have used that leaf. He had a couple times where he was a little loud.
Yeah, you just wake up in the shack or shed or whatever you call it, the bamboo hovel that you're living in. You look over and no, just a giant leaf by the campfire.
Standing in the middle of nothing.
Nothing weird here. So we get this. So we get the great survivor heist, and I was kind of excited for this. I was really excited to see like Vince of all people have to like keep cool and sneak in this camp.
I was like, how's Vince gonna screw this up?
Yeah. First of all, I love that he's like actually like able to like pick up information about their camp. Like, oh, these guys are a mess. They don't even have this thing covered. Like the fire's just out.
It honestly probably worked out better because, like I said, that torch was so huge, and they were waking up, and like they had someone had a nightmare. During like while he was there and everything. And if you just have that huge torch, you probably get caught.
Yeah.
So him grabbing the ash and he puts everything in his water bottle. I found that a little weird.
That's good.
But he just puts the ash in there. I think that's the only reason he actually, accomplished this.
Yeah. I would have loved to see it like played straight if there was no rain and there was an actual fire and he had to do it. But he does get really lucky here in a sense, which is weird because you wouldn't think that rain would make it easier. Because I think like the rain is just loud, like there's thunder going on and stuff.
But it does like hide your footsteps and everything.
Yeah,
like
there's so much water sounds going around, and even you also have to remember that he's sneaking around this camp and everybody's sleeping, but at the same time there are like cameramen around and there are production people, and it's probably not the same as like when it's daytime, but like,
got at least one or two people dedicated to him.
There are going to be other people around, so that maybe hearing a couple of rainy footsteps is not the kind of like out of the super unusual, like you're not expecting your camp to be raided in the middle of the night. So.
And if you've ever played Metal Gear Solid, you know that rain, it lets you be stealth. Like all the bad guys can't hear you when you're running around and everything. Thank you, rain.
Yeah, hides your scent. No one can smell Vince coming, which is great. So the rain works out. Rain works out well. He just has to sneak in and I guess steal some ash, which is some good on the fly thinking. The fire's out, and I think you're right. It would have been a lot harder to like dip that torch in there,
and it's just so big. Like that thing would have really lit up and everything, and they were already looking a little bit. And that would definitely wake you up.
Vince was actually considering apparently using their flint and trying to start fire and then steal the fire that he made. I'm not sure that was the right. I'm glad that was not what he went through. It would probably be a little bit challenging in the rain, a little bit noisy.
I really
wish
he did that,
right?
because that would have been amazing. just seeing him like try to start.
Ding, 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 ding.
Well, I gotta say, for how rough of an episode this was, smart move to get the ash and not start a fire in the rain.
Again, not the reason why Vince is in trouble here. This is not where he goes wrong. He has a chance to negotiate, but he jumps at it right away. He jumps at it right away. And again, I feel like this is probably the kind of thing where people would not assume that there is negotiation room in here, because like, how are you going to make it easier? Like, just steal half the fire. Like, it's not like, I mean, it's maybe the immunity idol will last longer.
I would like to see like a straight up negotiation go down, because I want to know how far Boston Rob will actually go and stuff. Like, what? Obviously, that he could extend the weeks and everything, but would he have said you don't have to steal like fire, you can steal something else? Like, I thought it would have been interesting to get more of that.
Yeah, it would have been cool. But at the same time, Vince is so hungry and desperate for the idol. Everybody's worried about him picking it up. Like, he knows he needs it. So you can't blame him for any chance that he got to go for an idol. Like, what are you gonna do? No. Like, you go for it. You go for it. So he risks his vote, and it turns out well. It's a high risk, high reward situation, but he pulls it out, and he goes home with an idol. So good for him. Goes back to his tribe with an idol, and also goes home with an idol, but more on that later.
Spoilers.
Spoilers, right? But first we got an immunity challenge to get to, and it's actually a really fun immunity challenge as well. And we're gonna talk about that and the gigantic fall that Vince takes right after this. Okay, so we are back, Lance, and we're talking about this immunity challenge, and I really like this immunity challenge. It was kind of a 3-part challenge, and I liked I liked every single part of it because there was something going on in every part. And I think the thing I liked the most about the first part is that we get to see the Janet versus Elizabeth
that was
grudge
awesome.
match. That
like
was
a showdown.
So cool. That was so cool. Yeah.
And props to Janet for really holding her own against an Olympian.
Yeah. I mean, Janet for sure struggles here a little bit. She goes down in the water. She has to get the goggles to see.
But the actual getting to it, she held up pretty well. Obviously, you're not going to beat the Olympian.
Right.
And everything.
You're up against an Olympic swimmer, right? So it's a little bit of a challenge there.
Yeah.
But aside from that, she holds up pretty good. Definitely not the reason, not the reason why her tribe, it's just a small part of that challenge. And Vokai actually makes up a lot of time on the second part with this balance beam thing, which I love that. That is really cool.
So that was my favorite part of this whole challenge. I like when you get some physical stuff, but you also have to, think a little bit when you're tired and you're hungry and all that stuff, and it doesn't always work out. And seeing kind of like the gymnastics that these people had to do, like Kelly having to hold on to Jason, and then you've got Missy like jumping around Tom and everything. I thought it was really cool to see.
Yeah, it's like a college physics problem where like you're just trying to it's so hard. Like this isn't like something you can really like strategize too much on. It's just something you kind of got to feel like, okay, you're a heavy, you got to move a little bit more to the left so I can move a little bit more to the right, and you're just kind of like balancing on. Like I thought that was fantastic.
I thought it was great, and then to see the other tribe do it so quickly, that was really interesting.
Well, Lairo took their time, and that's kind of the benefit of being first there. But Vokai had kind of the fire lit, and they knew they had to make up time, so they just kind of did it, and they did a great job here. I really want to call out two people, like Missy. First of all, did a fantastic job on Lairo. Like her moving over Tom, that was some badass stuff. Like,
she's great. Like we haven't seen a ton of her, but every time she does it, she's like the per minute champion so far. Where every time she's on screen, she's just amazing.
Yeah, we saw like a couple like little bits of her, but like everything that like I'm seeing, like she's not making mistakes. Like the tiny little bits. Like I've seen other people make mistakes. Other people like to think, well, I could come back to bite them. Missy seems to be doing everything right. Yeah. And on the other side, on the Vokai side, like Kelly does a really good job here. She calls out for help when she needs it. They work together really well. She's fast and they make up a lot of time here. They're still behind a little bit, but they make up some time.
Yeah, when Kelly had to ask Jason for help to hold on and everything, I was like, oh, they're screwed. This is going to screw them up so much. And they did a really good job while keeping the balance and everything. It was a nice job.
That bag looked far away.
Yeah.
I mean, you needed a little bit of help, and it's great. It's great, good read that you need it. So it looks like they're pretty close. I mean, it's not a huge blowout yet. But Lairo arrives first, and then Vokai kind of eventually makes their way up to this puzzle piece. It's a really cool puzzle. It's like the upside down hanging fish where they're trying to put it together. And Missy has a pretty good strategy. Missy realizes that it's red on the right, sprinkles on the left. Like you just got to look at the colors.
Yeah, like once again, Missy doing a great job for somebody not actually building it. Yeah. She instantly sees it, and Probst even says something, once you see it, you get it. Yeah. And she instantly saw it.
And I feel like that's another like feather in Missy's cap. It's like she is kind of like the whole package here. Like she's so good at the physical stuff, but also she's like great at this. If she's calling out this, like she should have been the person on the puzzle. She probably also should have been the person swimming. She should have done the entire challenge by herself.
Yeah,
and they would have won.
Even outside of the Immunity Challenge, she's kind of the glue that's holding the All Women's Alliance together too. Yeah, so she just is hitting every single spot that you want to see.
Yeah, she is not interested in breaking up that group. Yeah, I really like a lot of what I see here. As opposed to the puzzle team of Dean and Karishma here.
Once again, not a great ep for both of them.
No, not a great episode.
And doesn't this say that his puzzle abilities will make him a threat within challenges?
He did call out his puzzle abilities, and
Yikes.
It was just like a deer in the headlights, man. They were making nothing work. You got to think like, okay, they're starving, and it's tough operating on like a cup of rice a day or however little they get, but still it's just like they're looking at pieces that clearly don't fit, and it's like they're barely even moving.
They're like trying, they're like they just don't see it there. You could just tell that all the pressure and all the voices they're hearing just really got to at least Karishma. Yeah, you could tell that she was just kind of shell shocked.
Yeah, and there was a lot of commentary going on. Like you could see like even the shots that weren't on them, like other people were like. Everybody's like kind of like, here's how you do the puzzle.
Yeah.
With these two people were just like there's just so much information going around. They have no idea what to do with it. But like,
yeah. And on the other side, Jamal and Lauren just dominated
Jamal
that thing.
kills
They
it.
just kill it. Like that was impressive. Like Lauren, I feel like we haven't talked about her enough. She's doing a really good job, and then she obviously is smart, knows the puzzles, knows the game, and then Jamal is really good in challenges. And they both just dominate that.
Yeah,
that
it's just like one of their Survivor. Another piece and another piece, and it just keeps rolling,
and it just compounds for Karishma, who's already feeling the pressure. And once you hear Probst like just saying it's over and stuff. She had no shot.
It gets easier and easier as the puzzle goes on, and that's got to be tough to watch over in there at Lairo. Just watching that happen. Jeff's really into it though. You know, Jeff's dropping his superlatives again. You know, he's the ultimate Survivor hype man, and he's loving it. It's one of the biggest blowouts in Survivor history. It's always the biggest blowout in Survivor history. It's always the biggest comeback in Survivor history.
That's like a big sports thing though. It's always, you know, you got to get them hyped up. You got to tell the story a little bit.
I was hyped up for it. It was a really good challenge.
But you also can't do like the boy who cried wolf, where like you said, every single time. So you know, maybe pick your spots a little bit.
I can't wait till the next episode when we see the most incredible Survivor challenge of all time,
and
the biggest blindside.
I was about to say the biggest blindside ever.
That's right. Not that this little blindside may be one of our bigger ever, but we'll talk about that in a moment because we got the Lairo tribe unfortunately does not go and win here. You said we'd be trading back and forth, and so far we are. We Lairo first, then Vokai went to tribal, and now Lairo's back, which is great. I like seeing it's good to see. I feel like you really only get to understand the dynamics of the tribe when they head to tribal and have to vote. So like I'm really glad that we're seeing it kind of get traded back and forth here.
Totally.
So in the post immunity scramble here, you know, Vince, I think is aware that, you know, he might be in a little bit of trouble here. So he's working it, and he's trying to throw out some names, and the name he wants to throw out is Tom, because as Vince said, I believe Homeboy was huffing and puffing in that challenge, and
Homeboy, who's like 60 and has like an 8-pack. Come on, like he does maybe. You know, some stamina issues, but that guy is not really somebody you can't rely on.
Right. My first thought when watching that immunity challenge was not, boy, did Tom F this thing up.
Yeah.
Tom was there, but there was nothing, like Tom did not seem like any part of why that group lost the challenge. Like he seems like a fine competitor. Like I don't understand why it was that. But Vince is picking up on that, like, okay, Women's Alliance, it's got to be a guy. It can't be me. Not a lot of other choices there, right?
Yeah.
Like it's Aaron.
Aaron's not going to go because they need him for the challenges,
right? And Dean's not going to go again because they need him for challenges. I don't understand why after this last challenge, but apparently none of the heat winds up on Dean's back. All the heat for this thing going wrong winds up on Karishma's back, and I don't think that's necessarily.
It's because
correct.
Dean is gone, you know, he's missing. So
maybe it's just because Dean's so pretty. You just can't. You don't want to. You can't blame that guy. Look at him.
He does look happy.
He's a DJ. He's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Why are you gonna blame him? So Vince throws out Tom's name, and it doesn't seem like it's picking up a lot of steam here. Karishma's like, really? Okay. But Vince and Karishma have a talk here, which I think is pretty interesting, where Vince is very frustrated at how she's playing the bottom, that she's got to throw out names. I can't stand that she's not throwing out names. Like you got to realize you're on the bottom, which is, you know, ironic considering he's about to go home. But it's, we get, again, this is where the Karishma pity party really comes out. And I want her to play the game from a position of strength and not this position that she's playing from. Cause like, I want to see like her take control of her destiny in this game.
You could tell she's playing a little scared, and she just
doesn't want
to say anybody's name and stuff. And I would be frustrated by that too, because then you just feel like you're getting played if you're Vince.
Right. And maybe he was. I mean, that's probably part of it, because eventually that she votes to get rid of him.
You would think though that when she's not throwing out names, Vince would be like, okay, maybe it's me.
That's kind of like, again, that's Survivor 101. When someone's not willing to throw out a name to you,
you're the one.
Are probably the name that they don't want to throw out.
And there are just all these signs that even if it wasn't like a huge, like, okay, we're getting rid of him kind of thing, but there's so many signs, and you have, not to get into too much, but you have immunity out of the last 2 weeks.
Right.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Let's 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Don't know what he's waiting for. He thinks things are going to go even worse the next one. I don't know. But you know, as much as you know, Vince tries to comfort Karishma here. There's kind of a little bit of a, you know, who should go home, that we get a good chunk of strategy here from Chelsea. Chelsea does a lot of talking here, which is great because like I'm kind of into her.
I like Chelsea a lot. She has Immunity Idol, and she's pretty funny. Like every time she's on, she's got like a cool little one-liner.
Yeah, she's really good in these confessionals. And she's worried. She's understanding. Like Tom, okay, like Tom's probably on the list. Like she's got a short list of who's going. It's probably him over Dean, whose name we just learned. Because you got to learn the guy's name before you can write it down, right?
That's true.
That's the best thing.
I wonder if there's ever been like that's like, oh, I forgot this person's name, and producer has to like name. All right, thank you.
We've seen some bad spellings. So,
oh my God,
yeah. But Chelsea's worried that voting out Tom here will blow up the all women's alliance that she's pretty sure that no one sees. Which is, I mean, it's a good point. It's a good point that like, why would Tom go home here? Like, it would be kind of like a shocker. Like, Dean will go back and like, what? How the hell did that happen? That doesn't seem.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, it would totally. I mean, Aaron and Dean would just be like, all right, this is happening, kind of thing. And it's just way too early when you do have easier people to get rid of.
Yeah. It seems like Vince is kind of like the easy target here, as long as he doesn't have an idol, and it looks like there's a lot of concern about that. So naturally, as a wise man once said, split the vote. So they decide to split the vote here, and it indeed goes down exactly the way Karishma is worried, that the guys are going to vote for her, and the women are going to vote for Vince, and it's going to be nice and easy. And Vince is going to either play the idol and we're going to flush it out, or Vince is going to go home with it in his pocket and everything's going to be good. And that's the plan. And we head into tribal council, and really if that's the plan, they play it pretty well, because it doesn't look like any of the questions or any of the heat is really coming at Vince, right? It looks like there's some heat there for Karishma. It looks like there's some heat there for Tom. He's kind of like combative a little bit. But nothing like Vince seems like he's playing it cool. Vince is saying all the right things here. Like, he even has Sandra nod, and like, we can't be paranoid. Yeah, that's right.
And if you get a Sandra nod of approval, you're doing something, right?
That's big. But
I totally agree with you. The tribal council, nothing really got on my radar for Vince. Like, oh shoot, I really have to play this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you have to play it.
Right. So he's got to know that there's a very strong possibility there. It's only good for one more tribal council. It's only good for one more. If there's any question, he brought it. He was a little nervous. You could see his leg shaking as the whole thing was happening. Like
he had a cool way of like taking it out that he never really pulled off or anything.
He planned exactly how he was going to reveal it.
Another thing in the water bottle.
Yeah. It's a good hiding spot. No one's going to check the water bottle, right?
But
make the water gross.
You wonder if he's like, oh man, I'm so thirsty, and he drinks. He's like, oh no.
Accidentally swallow your idol. Yeah, be careful, everybody.
Choke on it.
Yeah. So the tribal council dynamic, we got Aaron and Tom. They're both going hard at Karishma. And Karishma, again, kind of carries the pity party forward into the tribal, unfortunately. And again, really exposes the women's alliance again.
That was my biggest issue with her entire game. It's like, you're in a pretty good spot. Even if you're at the bottom of this women's alliance, you're at least in the majority right now. And then you just straight up call out the people that are supposed to be in the alliance with you. And it was almost out of nowhere too. And I just couldn't believe that. And that, it just feels like, you asked me if Jamal was doomed. Karishma's doomed because of this.
Yeah. And Karishma's got a lot to look forward to, right? She's in a majority alliance, and she's probably not going to go home here. She's got a tribe swap coming up. She's got a merge coming up. There are going to be new people in the mix that she can work with and maybe use as weapons to kind of like turn things around. Like, she's got a lot of options moving forward here. So it's frustrating that on like day 8, day 9, that where we're still so early in the game, and it's really about keeping, tribal unity going together, because you're going to need that later at the merge, where it doesn't seem like there is that like tribal unity. It's kind of like they're really setting it up where it's this sorority that they're calling it against, I guess, the fraternity then,
I guess,
if that's what the other side is, right? And also there's Vince in the middle. And
in the co-ed fraternity.
Yeah, and it's those two groups. And Elizabeth here has a very Jeff asks her a question, and she has a very interesting comment where she's talking about it already being an individual game. And this is the second time at Tribal Council. There are 9 people in the tribe, and you're already talking about it being an individual game. Like, that is way too early. Like, even like it's like not even sure it's on the radar in the back of your head, but that's never something you should be vocalizing at like day 8, day 9. No.
Yeah, I really. This is Elizabeth's best episode.
Yeah.
I think she did a really good job of targeting Vince, and then when the vote was on Tom, saying I don't want Tom out. So I thought she had a really strong episode, but this was a misplay, just another misplay for her. And it was, you just can't do that. You gotta, stop people from thinking it's an individual game. You got to think tribe unity, even if you don't believe that.
Right.
Because obviously it becomes an individual game, but you can't say that now.
Yeah, I'm really worried about what's going to happen with this All Women's Alliance at the merge or even at a tribal swap. At the moment where they can do something about it and the guys can realize, like, oh, we can't be a part of that. We do not have the necessary biological equipment to be part of this alliance, so we got to do something about it, right?
Yeah, and if I'm Karishma, I just try to survive. Like, don't ruffle any feathers. Don't call anybody out. Get to the merge or a tribe swap. And then if that whole tribe's dead to you, you're extremely valuable to the other side.
Exactly. She's got a lot of options moving forward. But I guess there's in the name of tribal togetherness, they all like, oh no, you're a part of this group. No, don't think that you're not a part of this women's alliance. You're definitely a part of it.
Yeah, and they need her.
Yeah, for sure they do. Yeah, she's a very important number here at a 5-4 split, for sure. So she should not be as paranoid as she is, or at least as openly paranoid as she is.
I'm really interested to see if the guys' alliance, the fraternity, tries to grab her. You saw those cracks and everything. Like, try to grab her. It might not work. It might be a Vince situation where it's like, why would I do that? Mm-hmm. But maybe not.
Yeah. I mean, the numbers have turned a little bit. Who knows if they're even going to go back to tribal council before things get shaken up. But yeah, that's fine. She's in an all right spot, I think. And then she has these side conversations. Before we get to the vote, Karishma has these side conversations. I think she starts one with Elizabeth, right? And then she's talking with everybody.
Yeah.
By the time this
she went Elizabeth, then Missy, and then it was like everybody.
Yeah. And we don't know exactly what she's talking about, and we don't know exactly what their plan was going into this. But you have to think, like, what were they talking about? Was it like just stick to the plan here? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think there was anything special.
Yeah.
It definitely got on Tom's radar, and he didn't like that. But he also, he had the same thought. Like, this isn't really this is like a show kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I really didn't understand, like, you had to know that, like, some votes were coming on you and everything. Yeah. Like, I didn't really understand what she was going for.
Yeah, I don't know, but what I hope it was, I'm like hoping it's like a good strategic move here and not just a thing that happened. It could just be a thing that happened. But the way it looked to me, right, is that there's, like, Tom here is on the hot seat, right? And Tom is feeling incredibly threatened by what she's doing. Like, right? Like, oh, she's just making a play. Like, this is nothing. Where you can tell, like, he's worried that like, he's not saying that unless he's worried something's going on, right? Like, he's calling her out.
This is like Tom's, like, first, like, kind of outburst, I guess. He's been pretty mild-mannered and getting along with everybody, and this is the first time, like, something's really got on him.
Yeah, but if I'm Vince sitting there and this whole thing is going on, like, the last thing I'm thinking is Vince is like, they're not just like all like, it's got to be Vince. We got to get rid of Vince. Like, that's like, I'm sure, like, Vince is thinking, like, oh, are they all like, definitely Tom right now? And now it's definitely Tom. I just, there's so much uncertainty there for Vince. And that just kind of adds to it.
Yeah.
And it really does seem like maybe what happens here, what Karishma does, makes Vince a little less likely to play the idol, which is exactly what Karishma needs to survive this vote. That could just be some Survivor fan fiction there, but that's what I'm hoping her strategic
That'd be
move
great.
was.
If that is, then, good for her. That's a great play, and it's not something that, from what we've seen, we expect like a strong strategic play. Yeah. But if she really did that, props to her.
Probably just another thing I'm wrong about, but we'll find out by the end of the season. We'll find out.
Can't wait.
Can't wait either. So it looks like Vince here, despite Sandra giving him the nod, Sandra and Rob both then give him the gasp later as he is voted out. A few votes go to Karishma, 1 vote goes to Tom, and then all the rest come at Vince. So my question here lands. I mean, aside from Vince just making an absolutely stupid move of not playing his idol, it's literally it's the same it's a Chris Noble move. It's the same move that Chris Noble made. He was definitely in trouble in that tribal, and decided he had one more tribal he could play that immunity idol at, and he just wanted to save it, and that's the one you went home at. So not the best play here. But my question is, did the Women's Alliance here make the right move in getting rid of Vince? Because Vince is someone who was working with the Women's Alliance. He was the 6th person in that 5-person alliance.
Honestly, I don't think it was too bad of a move, because you do have that safety of another number. Maybe when Karishma started wavering a little bit, maybe you kind of reconsider. But I think knowing that he has that idol, you just got to flush it this early.
Yeah.
So they still have the numbers as long as they can hold on to Karishma. So I didn't think it was that bad of a move.
Yeah, I like it. I like it from a tribe unity kind of standpoint. Like, if the Women's Alliance is really trying to hide the fact that they've got a Women's Alliance going, I think Tom is a big kind of like red flag. Like, there's a Women's Alliance going on. It was Tom, and
that definitely draws the line in the sand.
It does. And I think Vince is something, because the guys were okay with Vince going home. The guys wouldn't have been okay with any guy but Vince going home. And I think that's the move that you make there. It just kind of, everybody gets what they want except for Vince, right? Like, everybody gets 1 vote down the road. The guys are fine. The guys don't lose any of the guys that they're, immediately concerned about. And the women keep their, like, all the women are still in the game. Like, they lose Vince, who was a number, but also Vince can be a little bit of a liability, I think, moving forward, just viewing the way he's been playing the game.
Yeah, it's not like he was like an integral part of what they were doing or anything. And you see that when he gets on people's radar or he thinks he's going to get voted out, he'll be a little roguish too, he'll call people out. So you don't need somebody like that who, if he does find out like maybe something's going on with the women, he goes and tells somebody too.
Yeah, he's a very emotional player. He blew up after that first tribal council when there was no reason for him to. He just, like, when he arrived in the Island of the Idols, he immediately broke down into tears. Like, Ross Ramsey, he's like a super emotional player, and emotional enough to be blinded by those emotions and make the wrong move. And I can't blame him too much for getting rid of him here. As fun of a character as Vince was to see on TV, I love when people are loud and out there and playing in a spectacular fashion, whether it is spectacularly good or spectacularly bad. I still love it.
The one thing I feel bad going home with an idol in your pocket is such a terrible feeling. I hate seeing that, because I like when the idols are played a little bit. That would have made it a little more fun and stuff.
Yeah.
But it also, if you don't play it, like, you dug your own grave.
You gotta play it. He's got no one to blame but himself. He had the tool to save himself, but he didn't do it.
Yeah. And even said he trusted the women too much.
Yeah. So supposedly, he had a really good alliance with them, and he did have I was doing a little bit of extracurricular reading. And,
humble brag.
Yeah. So Vince, in the Vince post interviews, Vince did say that he actually got together with Elizabeth after he had come back from the island, and they talked a little bit about what happened there. And so Vince came up with his own lie. We didn't see Vince's lie on the show, but Vince's lie in real life was that he was on the Island of the Idols and he had to play this game where he had to like memorize tiles, and like there were animal tiles that he had to like go into the jungle and like remember the arrangement of the tiles. And he said that he wasn't able to do it. He spent all night trying to do it, but he eventually lost his vote. And that was his pitch. And when he went back to the women and trying to make this vote for Tom happen, he was like, it's got to be Tom. Like, it's super important that it's Tom because I don't have a vote here tonight. And I don't know that that's the right pitch, but that was the pitch.
That's tough. That makes it even, just digging that grave even more and everything. Yeah. But good on Elizabeth to kind of, make it like that her lie isn't that big of a deal because Vince has a new lie. Mm-hmm. But if everybody makes a new lie and everyone's like, I didn't win, obviously people are lying too. It's just funny. No one ever wins this thing.
Someone's gonna figure this out eventually. I can't wait for the notes to finally come out.
I was surprised that this is another thing for Vince. Like, you could have used this, potentially turn the tribe on Elizabeth. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was a missed opportunity. And it looks like if you saw the previews for next week, Kelly is a little worried about this. So she might have to, make some stuff happen.
I think Vince just bought a little bit too much into this all women's alliance and his position within it. And while that alliance is strong, it did not need Vince, and that's the reason why Vince went home.
Yep.
Aside from the fact that he didn't play his idol, that is another reason why he went home.
Yep.
Better luck next time, buddy.
Yeah, and I think for the women, if whoever they lost, Vince or Krishma, they still could get that other person in there, so they still have the numbers and everything. So it was something, you lose the battle, but you can still win the war.
Yeah. All right. So we've talked about Vince's game here, which seems like a good segue into our winners and our losers, our Survivor of the Week and our Goat of the Week, right, Lance?
Hotly anticipated. People love this.
Hotly anticipated. I only listen to the podcast for this part.
As long as you listen.
Yeah. Get the downloads. That's all that matters, right?
And the 5-star reviews.
Yeah. All right. So do you want to take us get us started with your winner, your Survivor of the Week?
Yeah, let's. I got a couple, but I'm gonna go with Elizabeth.
Okay.
So we were just talking about her, the Olympian. I haven't loved her game so far this year, but because the first episode just wasn't a good look. Mm-hmm. But she did a great job swimming, obviously, and then she was smart to target Vince when he had that idol, and she doesn't tell him the truth about it, and she kind of silences him for that, and she got the vote off of Tom. I think she really ran this stuff from behind the scenes, and so I'm going to give her Survivor of the Week.
Yeah. Okay. I've got a couple different picks here. My Survivors of the Week are kind of a little bit more like laying low players, but I want to call, he's not my Survivor of the Week, but I do want to call out Jack. I think Jack does a really good job of, he got blindsided, but I don't think I think it just kind of rolls off his back here. He's not in a fantastic position because of that, but he's not in a terrible position either. And I think his reaction to it and, working his way back in Tommy's favor, I think he plays it very well here. But my winner of the week here, I really like Missy. I'm calling out Missy, and it's not that she has any one gigantic moment where she stands out, but she has so many smaller moments in this episode where she's clearly in such a great position in her alliance. She really does seem like she's an integral the backbone of this alliance, right? She is one of the strongest advocates for it. She is phenomenal in challenges, we've just seen her do so well, not just this week, but in the previous weeks as well. She's got that puzzle mind. She's really good at challenges. I just love everything that I'm seeing out of Missy. I know it's not there was not one single moment, but she is a winner for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We talked about it earlier. When she's on the screen, it's a good thing.
Yes.
Good things are happening for her, and it's kind of like a seamless kind of thing. Everything she does just feels right, and it just fits in.
Yeah, that's the exact kind of if that's the edit you want going into it, because that's it's exactly.
And then I got a couple people to call out just real quick. Not my Survivors of the Week. I really liked Jamal and Lauren just because they beasted that puzzle. And I said this earlier, but we weren't giving Lauren enough credit for flipping that vote last week. She's another player kind of like Missy where she's under the radar, but everything she's doing is really, really good.
Again, every time, I like seeing her on my screen as well. She is fantastic. All right, so our goat of the week, Lance. Our goat of the week. You wanna lay one on me, Lance?
Yeah, well, there's two obvious ones.
There are two obvious ones.
I'm gonna go with one of the obvious ones.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Karishma.
Okay.
Cut herself down to the bone.
Yeah.
Not good. That hurt. And then she just completely turned on the All Girls Alliance in the tribal council.
Yeah.
And she's just, on the bottom, she's putting way too much attention on herself, and her complaining and complaining about not playing the game.
Yeah.
It's just getting on people's nerves, getting on my nerves a little bit. So you root for her, especially in the beginning of the episode, you really want her to do well. But when you see that, it's either going real bad or real good, and it went real bad.
Yeah. Everybody winds up having the Survivor story because obviously doing this for 39 days is going to change you forever, and you're going to learn so much about yourself. And it's still very early on. It's only day 9. We're still barely even begun. You've barely begun to see the bones in the survivors' bodies. There's a long way to go.
Unless you're Karishma.
But there's a lot of possibilities for her to grow here. She definitely could. I'm just worried that I just need her to do it quick, because if she doesn't do it quick, she's going to be in trouble real soon.
Yeah, hopefully, she kind of pulls off a Nicole from Big Brother where, she becomes a butterfly.
Yeah.
That'd be really nice to see. it'd be tough with this short of time, but if we got a little bit of a transformation in the next couple episodes, hell yeah.
Or maybe a Nicole from an alternate universe who believes in herself to stand up the cliff at Final Five and wins the game. Anyway,
Big Brother brothers.
That's something. Yeah, that's something for the Big Brother fans out there. Okay, so my go to the week. You said there were a few good options. I mean, Vince is obviously an option. We went on about him.
That one's a little too easy, right?
Yeah, it is a little bit too easy for sure. He is a loser here because he goes home. But my pick is the handsome Dean. I have seen him. I last saw him stumbling on the Lairo beach. I last saw him quoting himself while voting at tribal council. He is getting he's just getting not a great edit here. That makes you wonder exactly how far or how well he is going to do in this game. Things could turn around. I'm going to say, like, on paper, he is not a dumb guy. He appears to be a very smart guy. We just do not see it on the show. We see the exact opposite on the show. The splitting the vote thing, that was tough. And we saw he was tripping on the beach. Like, it's just not good. We saw a lot of him in this episode, and none of it was good. So that is my pick for Goat of the Week.
I do respect the fact that he quotes himself, because
I'd love to like that.
I'd love to do that. I'd love to have the onions or the quotes to do that.
I do like that. I do like that. All right, Lance. So I think that about wraps us up here for this episode. We're gonna see what happens next week. Again, see how this tribe comes back together, if they come back together. Do you have any predictions about next week before we go?
Predictions: someone goes home.
Okay, sounds good.
Some bad things happen. No, I'm gonna say Kelly has a freak out about Island of the Idols and someone going there, and that the Purple Tribe wins immunity.
Okay. I think whatever tribe wins immunity, it'll probably be spoiled in some kind of promo. So keep an eye out for that.
Jeff Probst will tweet about it.
Jeff Probst will not be happy about that. No. But if it's the Orange Tribe or the Purple Tribe, some CBS affiliate somewhere will spoil it for you. So don't worry. No, I think it's going to be I think we're going to keep trading off. I think Lairo went back this time, so I think it's going to be Vokai the next time. That's at least what I'm hoping for, because I want to keep seeing them go back and forth, because I'm really into these tribes. I want to see the dynamic play out. Jeff Probst, if you're listening, I know you don't have a time machine. I know this has already been recorded, but please don't give us a tribe swap next episode. Please don't give it us after 4. Tribe swaps are fine, but I just want to see these tribes go a little bit longer. I feel like it's a little bit too common to do the tribe swap at 4. So let's keep it going a little bit longer. It's like what Big Brother did with the double eviction last year. They just kept pushing it off, so people started wondering whether it was going to show up, and it messed with their heads. Let's mess with their heads. No tribe swap yet.
Yeah, I'm with you. I really do want to get to know these people. We just figured out Dean's name.
We did.
So we need more time with these people in their tribes.
We need more Dean. Yeah, we need more Dean screen time. All right, so I think that just about wraps us up here for today, Lance. I want to remind everybody that Survivor Brothers is available on all your favorite podcasting apps, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all of them, Stitcher. Even the ones that you haven't even heard of, they're probably on there too. So check that out.
We're everywhere.
Yeah, we are everywhere, including YouTube. We are also on YouTube. If you want to watch us or listen to us while that's playing in the background, I don't know how that works, but I sure like listening to podcasts on YouTube. When I'm supposed
cast
to be
it onto your
working,
big screen TV, watch it on your iPad, watch it on your laptop, do all 3 at the same time. Why the hell not?
Yeah, nothing like Lance's face on a 70-inch flat screen, right?
I mean, I've seen it before.
He's seen it before. All right.
Didn't break the TV.
That's something. Yeah. No refunds if that happens to you after streaming us. All right. Well, we'll see you all back here next week, everybody. So for now, Survivor Brothers signing off. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.